let us take the first chapter, that is overview of goods and services tax. In this chapter, we have to learn 4 sub-chapters. First one, basics of goods and service tax. Second, understanding GST law. Third, GST network and GST council. And fourth one, tax payable. And at the end of the chapter, you want to learn self-examination and assignments. You want to do it, then only you will confirm your learning. Then, coming to first subchapter, basics of goods and services tax. Here we can understand various points. First one, what is tax? So tax is the income or revenue for government, either it is central government or state government. Why government need such an income? Because they want to meet all expenses like education, defense, agriculture, law and safety, administration, etc. And there are 2 types of taxes. One is direct tax and another is indirect tax. Direct tax example is income tax, directly levied on a person. So rich persons has to pay more tax based on their income. And what is indirect tax? It is levied on goods and services. So GST is a indirect tax. All persons, whether rich or poor, has to pay equal tax whenever they are purchasing any goods or services. Then the next page we can learn the taxes that is subsumed into GST. There were many taxes which were handling by central government, like central excise duty, service tax, additional duties, etc. So these are subsumed into GST. But basic customs duty is not subsumed. Then there are other taxes which were levied by state government or union territories, like state VAT, central sales tax, luxury tax, entertainment tax, etc. So these all taxes were subsumed into GST. Then let us take taxes which are not covered under GST, like basic customs duty, stamp duty, vehicle tax, road tax. So there is a list of taxes which are not subsumed into GST. Then what is GST? Let us take one example. You are going to one shop. You are a customer. Then you are purchasing from that business and you are paying price to the business person, to the shopkeeper. So it includes value plus GST. Okay, value of the goods plus GST on such goods. So this GST has to be paid to the government. So you are paying tax to the shopkeeper. Shopkeeper has to pay tax to the government. So that is called GST. Then we will see various benefits which are there or after implementation of GST, like removal of cascading effect, removal of check post, common classification mechanism like HSN SIC code, higher threshold limit, input tax credit. So these are all benefits. You can read and understand it. Then the main question, in which state the GST was implemented in India? So it was on 1st July 2017 on which the GST was implemented in India. There are various benefits we got on implementation of GST. The first benefit is removal of cascading effect. See, before implementation of GST, when we had to purchase any goods from another state, we had to pay CST. Then the same goods when we are selling inside the state, we had to pay VAT after collecting from the customers, and VAT was charged on the CST component also. So that was tax on tax. So such anomaly is removed as of now. And second point, see, removal of check post. Can you see any check post now? No, because e-way bill is adopted in the GST scenario by which check posts are removed. Then there is a common classification mechanism by which HSN and SSC codes are adopted. Input tax credit is another benefit. See, earlier when you were paying service tax, you could not have taken the service tax paid to the supplier to deduct from VAT liability. And when VAT is paid for goods, you are not able to deduct it from your service tax liability. So now every tax, indirect tax, is subsumed into GST, so you can set off such input tax credit. Then higher threshold is came, reduction in the overall tax burden. See, before GST you had to pay more taxes. Central excise duty was there, CST was there, VAT was there, service tax was there, and it was very difficult to manage with all these taxes. Then reduction in price for exports, it is treated as zero rated supplies. So for exports there is no GST. So there will be international competitive advantage for the exporters. Then gain for central and state governments. The central and state governments will get a chance to collect tax on goods and services, and they can collect more revenue from the taxable persons. Then simple and transparent system. It is becoming simple and transparent. It may take little time, but we can expect that it will be very easy in the coming days. And when was GST implemented in India? It was on 1st July 2017 on which GST was implemented. So it took almost 16 or 17 years to get it implemented in India. Anyway, this is the GST law we need to learn in detail, that we will learn in the upcoming chapters. Chapter 1.2 is understanding GST law. So first you want to know that any law in India is based on Constitution of India. So there is no exemption for GST law also, it is based on Constitution. And there are 3 articles which are important, which are Article 265, Article 246A and Article 269A. Article 265 is regarding that only with the authority of law tax can be collected. Article 246A, it was 101st Amendment Act, and it gives concurrent powers to both central government and state government for collecting GST. Then Article 269A is in case of interstate trade or commerce, central government has the power to levy tax. So that is IGST. Then see, we have to know that there are 5 acts. These are the parts of GST law. So if you want to become a master in GST, then you want to know all these acts. So the first act is Central Goods and Services Tax Act 2017. There are 21 chapters, 174 sections and 3 schedules. And as per this act, we are paying CGST, and government is explaining about registration, levy of tax, input tax credit, returns, input tax credit, all these things, tax invoice credit and debit notes, all these chapters are explained here. Then you can see schedule 1, 2 and 3 also. Then the second act is State Goods and Service Tax Act 2017. So it includes 21 chapters, 174 sections and 3 schedules. This is applicable for states. So every state will have its own SGST Act by which it can collect SGST. Then the third act is Union Territory Goods and Services Tax Act 2017, which is applicable for all union territories. But exemption is there for Delhi and Pondicherry, for which SGST Act itself will be applicable. So there is 9 chapters and 26 sections also. You can read various chapters, headings. Then the fourth act is Integrated Goods and Services Tax Act 2017, which is classified into 9 chapters and 25 sections. So there also the important provisions are determination of nature of supply, place of supply, zero rated supply, like that. So this is the act by which IGST will be collected. Then the fifth act is Goods and Services Tax Act, Compensation to States Act 2017, by which compensation cess will be collected by central government and compensation will be paid to the state governments who are suffering loss of revenue because of implementation of GST. As well as you want to know that HSN list, which is a classification of all goods in GST, and SAC list, which is used for classifying services. As well as there are other relevant acts which may be useful for learning GST better. Chapter 1.3 is regarding GST network and GST council. In this chapter, we need to learn about GST Con portal, which is available in internet, that is gst.gov.in. You have to take it and see what all facilities, what all informations are available in that website. So this is the front page of that website, which is used by all taxpayers, government authorities, banks, etc. So all the stakeholders of the GST ecosystem is using this site. So what is the purpose for which we need to use it? We need to do registration, we need to file GST returns, we need to pay taxes, we need to file the application for refund and other reports. For everything we need to use this website, that is common portal. Then there is separate e-way bill portal that is given in e-way bill gst.gov.in website. So this is a portal in which you want to generate e-way bill for movement of goods. So we will learn e-way bill in another chapter. Then after learning this both common portal and e-way bill portal, we will learn constitution of GST Council. See, any decision in GST law should be recommended by GST Council to the government. Only then government can issue a notification. So decision by GST Council should be taken by 3/4 of the weighted odds. Okay, and it is 1/3 is given by central government and 2/3 is given by state government for becoming the weighted odds. Then at least 50% of the members of the GST Council should be there in the quorum. Then only they can take the decisions. Then what is the main purpose for which the GST Council is constituted? Because they want to take various decisions on GST rate, threshold limits, the due dates, everything. So it is based on the GST Council's decisions. The notification is issued by the central government. Then what is the guiding principle of the GST Council? It is to bring harmony among central government, state governments, etc. and all stakeholders in the ecosystem. Chapter 1.4 is regarding tax payable. Dual GST system is implemented in India, which is similar to the GST system in Canada. Okay, what is dual GST? In dual GST system, both central government as well as state government gets its own power to levy GST on goods and services. So, which are the taxes that should be paid on GST scenario? In case of intra-state supply, say within the state, in that case CGST levied by central government and SGST will be levied by state government. Suppose the rate is 18% for a commodity, say mobile. In that case 9% CGST will be coming and 9% SGST will be coming. And CGST will go to central government and SGST will go to the state government. And in case of interstate, from one state to another state, IGST will be collected and it will be collected by central government. Then we can see one bill here on which SGST and CGST is calculated on the goods, that is fresh coffee we had. Then what is IGST? IGST is applicable on interstate trade or commerce, and there is an important provision, place of supply, as per the IGST Act. We will have a separate chapter later. So here we need to understand what is IGST with this example. The supplier is in Tamil Nadu and customer is in Karnataka. Supplier is providing goods to customer in Karnataka. Price is given by the customer to the supplier. So tax is 100. Which tax will be applicable? It is IGST. Okay, from Tamil Nadu to Karnataka goods are moving, so it is an interstate supply, so IGST will be applicable. Then how the distribution of taxes will be happening? See, out of 100 rupees, CGST 50 rupees will be taken by central government, and SGST portion, another 50 rupees, will be given to Karnataka government where customer is located. So that is called place of supply. Then coming to B2B and B2C transactions, B2B means business to business. What is business? The person who has taken a registration as per the GST law, and who is a customer who has no registration as per the GST law. So the formula for finding out the tax liability is output tax minus input tax. What is output tax? The tax collected from the customer. And what is input tax? Tax paid to the supplier when we purchased any goods or services. So output tax minus input tax is the tax liability. And in case of B2C transactions, the customer has to bear the tax, and he has to pay tax to the business person, and business person has to pay tax to the government. But in case of B2B transaction, they can claim input tax credit. There is an example given here. So please understand how it will be working out. Say for manufacturer, he is selling at a taxable value of 1 lakh to the distributor, and output tax is 18,000, and invoice value is 1,18,000. So here output tax is coming, and this tax the manufacturer has to pay to the government. But in case of distributor, he already paying this 18,000 here to the manufacturer. So the output tax collected by him is 21,600, but the tax paid to the manufacturer by the distributor can be deducted, and only balance 3,600 has to be paid by distributor to the government. So that is the flow by which input tax credit can be adjusted by the taxable persons who are taken registration, that is business persons. So you can read it, the full explanations are given. And features of GST, it is levied at all stages from manufacture to final consumption. Credit of tax at previous stage is available for set off as input tax credit by business persons, and only value addition will be taxed, and the final burden of tax is on the customer. So we have finished all 4 chapters, and now you can do this self-examination questions. 4 questions are there, and you can check with the key answers given at the end of the study material. And there is a assignment given. You have to go to www.gst.gov.in and see the portal. Okay, and then click on GST law page. Then you can read all acts which are given, CGST Act, SGST Act, etc. Then you can go to cbsc.gov.in also. These 2 important websites will give you more knowledge. Then there is an assignment for you to find out the input tax credit flow or the tax liability calculation between the business person to business persons. Clear? So you do this assignment also, it will give a clear understanding. So this was chapter 1, and enjoy learning with us with our learning management system, in which video tutorials are given for detailed understanding. Thank you.